I went to a high school signing one day, and I really didn't feel like getting dressed up, bro. Like it was early in the morning. I put up in like sweats and like a polo. I just get a lot of mean mugs. Mind you, I'm the only black person in the room. A lot of like, what is this guy doing here? The energy I felt was just, I don't know how to describe it. It just felt like I was a outsider. And I'm trying to do my job. Now you compare that to the next day I went to a signing. I didn't like that feeling. So I wore a suit. No problem getting to the door. Actually, someone said, "Hello, sir. Like, how you doing?" It sucks that like a simple "What are you wearing?" can change how people treat you. But that's something I learned, and that as a black man, I have to understand that you can't just pull up in baggy clothes and do your job. It's not how it works. People aren't going to take you seriously, and people may label you as something that you probably don't want to be labeled while you're just trying to get a paycheck. But when you dress up, when you look good, when you put that ish on, then things look a little bit differently. Now, should it be that way? No. But that's just the way, that's the world we live in right now. I think that's also a testament to why I wear the things I wear on air. It really does matter to me about what I put on. When I wake up every day and look in the mirror, I have to have the ish on. Never know where that's going to take me.
Welcome to Pinnacle Code, where we spotlight high achievers in the culture and decode how they got to where they are today. I'm your host, Ben Arthur. Excited to be joined by my guy, Cory Mose. He is a sports anchor and reporter in Austin, Texas, working for KVUE, the ABC affiliate in the city. He's when I think of like kind of stars, rising stars in the sports broadcasting space, he's kind of right there at the top of the list for me. I think one of his defining attributes is just the personality he brings to the job. Like he'll be posting like clips on social media of just some of the hits he's done, and man, you really get a sense for who Cory is, and I think that's a gift. So he's, as I said, a rising star in the business, someone I've gotten to know over the last several years through our shared affiliation with the National Association of Black Journalists, and we have a number of mutual friends as well. But Cory, thanks so much for doing this. How you doing, bro?
Hey, that was a great intro. That was a
Hey,
great
man,
intro,
had to
bro.
do you right. Had to do you right.
I appreciate that. But I'm doing good though. Just out in the sun today. You know, it's a nice little vibe here in Austin. So
Yeah.
of course gotta come outside and enjoy the weather while it's here. You know, Texas. Like it could be sunny today and then tomorrow will be a storm. So you just never know. So you gotta enjoy the days when you have them. But yeah,
For
dude,
sure.
thank you for
Yeah,
having
no,
me on.
yeah, no problem, no problem. And the weather here in Nashville is actually kind of the same too. So I totally feel you on that. And so, Cory, with you, I kind of want, let's kind of start at the beginning, right? So my understanding, you're from the Houston area, right? Or
H-Town, hold it down.
yeah,
I already know about
H-Town.
it.
Oh,
I'm crazy.
yo, that's lit. Okay.
Didn't
Yeah,
know I was gonna do that.
yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, if you guys are watching on YouTube, that was pretty dope. But Cory, so what do people need to know about your upbringing in Houston to understand the guy talking to me today?
Yeah, I will say I'm from a suburb in Houston called Pearland. I know you recently had Chance on, and so Chance and I
Okay.
are from the same city, and so we went to rival high schools growing up. But the thing about Pearland and Houston in general, you know, Houston is the fourth most diverse city in the nation, and so I was just surrounded by so many different cultures and personalities, and I think that really has carried to what we do now and the way we talk to people every day. And so, with my upbringing, I would say that I was able to connect with so many different types of backgrounds and know that, like, we're all just human, right? We all have our different struggles, of course, culturally. But I was blessed enough to be in an environment where I was put into so many different lives, I guess I should say, and I learned from them. And so now I was able to kind of use what I got growing up to then create relationships, build different types of things with people in our industry that may not look like me. And
Mm,
so I'm blessed to say that I grew up in that type of environment. And I would say that's how I kind of got to this point, was the first start of just talking to people who don't look like me and don't relate to me.
mm,
And then I could figure out a way to relate to them in some way. And that kind of helped bridge the gap between any type of cultural differences. And now I'm just at the point where I feel comfortable. I can talk to anybody. And that's what we have to do every day. So that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, I do. Grew up with three older sisters. I'm the youngest of four. I got bullied a lot growing up with the girls in the house. A lot of makeup on the counter, a lot of lashes everywhere. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. I'm used to all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing to me. But it definitely was a fun time in the Mose household for sure. Was a track guy growing up. We all ran track in the house, and my dad was an All-American in Mississippi State. So that's
Okay.
my sport. Yeah. He was like that. He was like that back
Okay.
then. We didn't get that though, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did not get his speed. But yeah, so just blessed to be a part of the family and to have the type of upbringing that I did, and have no regrets. So.
Cory, you spoke about just kind of the diversity of Houston, kind of getting exposed to a whole bunch of different cultures. And I'm curious, did that play a role into, I guess, that personality, the persona you're able to show when you go on air? Because it doesn't matter, like, if you're talking to your partner who's like an older middle-aged white dude, like you're able to like fully be yourself in a way that I don't think is super common. Did that maybe your upbringing play a role in how you're able to show up for your job?
So I think the comfortability, yes, for sure, to know that I can talk to someone on that level and joke around and have those type of things. But I would say the confidence to do that didn't come until my first market in Midland, Odessa. I know my news director basically told me that, like, look, with your style, people are going to love you or people are going to hate you. Like, there's no
Mhm.
in between because you're so different. And once I kind of got that into my mind, because I'm a people pleaser at heart, if I'm being real. And so I didn't like the fact that someone wouldn't like my style. It just didn't make sense to me. But I had to come to grips with it once I got to my first job. Cause I started to get some hate mail. Not gonna lie to you, gotta get some harsh remarks in the email box. But you just take it and you move on. You know what I'm saying? And so I think over time in the business, I've gotten to a point where I'm confident in who I am, and I know that my style is different, and I'm okay with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now in my career. And you see that come through a TV screen now, is that I'm confident in who I am. And I believe everything I say and everything that you see on TV is who I am genuinely. And
Mhm.
so I think when people meet me in person, a lot of things they say is, man, you're just like who you are on TV. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you expect? To me, I don't see why you would expect anything different. But you know the industry, of course, there's people like that fake it. But for me, like, I think that confidence came in my first market once I finally came to grips that, like, it's okay to be different and it's okay for people not to like you as long as you're okay with who you are. And I'm at the point now where I love who I am on TV, and I don't want to change anything.
Going to that first market, as you said, Midland, Odessa, how long did it take you to get to that point, to being okay with who you are? Like, did it take a few months, or was it a particular conversation that you had with yourself, with God, with your family? Like, how exactly did you come to that realization that I'm okay with this? And like, some people are gonna love me, some people are gonna hate me.
Yeah, there's a couple instances that kind of helped me grow in that aspect. I know there was a couple times. I know I had some feedback from GMs and news directors that I'm sending my reels out to, and they're just like, "Yeah, we think you should tone down on the colors with my suits." Like, I'm a big fashion guy, and so, like, I have a bunch of colors in my suits, and I do a bunch of different combos. And they're like, maybe you should tone it down. Maybe just stick to navy blue, stick to a gray. And then I was just like, I don't want to do that. That's not me. And then I also had peers that would tell me, you know, it's cool being who you are, but that's not going to help you rise in the markets, because
Mm.
you have to fit into a box to get to a top 10, to get into a top 5, to get into a top 20 market. And so I have my own peers telling me, hey, maybe you need to tone it down a little bit. And so over those courses of conversation where I'm sending my reels out to people and resumes, and hey, can you watch this? Can you watch that? The feedback I was getting back was, hey, calm it down a little bit.
Mhm.
And to me, I'm just like, why? Like, who wrote the book of how to be great in TV? Like, I didn't know there was a only way to do it this way and you can't do it this way type thing. Like, who says that? Like, I don't understand where that started. And I didn't go to a big journalism school. So I didn't learn crap anyways in college.
Mhm.
I went to UT Arlington, and
Mhm.
of course, not big on any type of broadcast journalism. None of my professors were actually sports anchors. Only one of my professors was actually in the business. He was a reporter for a little bit. But the other professors in the college was all scholars. They all went to school to teach, not to work. And so I'd like to tell people I didn't really learn much. But what I did learn and take away was that just be you and see where it takes you. And my professors, they never told me to calm it down. They never told me to tone it down. They never told me to maybe don't wear that suit or don't wear this suit. What they did was congratulate me and praise my enthusiasm, praise my weird little sayings or some type of puns during highlights. They encourage all that. And so once I left college, I thought I was pretty decent until I get to the first market and people are telling me I need to calm all that down. And so I appreciate where I went to school because it didn't put me in a box. They didn't make me a certain type of journalist and a certain type of reporter. They let me just be Cory. And so once I finally got a shot to be on an actual TV station and I was able to be Cory, at that point I was like, I don't care what everyone else says. You know, clearly it's got me to this point. And if I got my first job, why can't I get my second job? Being me. And now I'm in Austin being me. And that's how I got here because I was being myself. And so, yeah, I would say there's multiple moments throughout my career where people will tell me, no, no, no. And I'm so stubborn. I'm just like, why not? Why? And clearly it's working. I will say there was one instance, though, that comes to mind during the Black Lives Matter movement in Midland. There was a couple protests, of course, against Black Lives Matter. You know, Midland's only 4% Black. So you know how that was going out there. So during that time, you know, I really had to look inward and think, okay, I'm in the big minority here in this city. How can I still show who I am as a Black man in a city that's 4% Black? Still be on TV every day, still show my charisma, still show my personality, even though I feel like my people are getting marginalized. How can I still show that type of energy? And that's when it kind of showed me that, like, it's okay to be you in your own skin and embrace it. Because everyone that's talking on social media, everyone that's all these coaches that are shaking my hand in person, but like, I don't know what they're saying behind closed doors. That started to go through my mind. At a certain point, it's just like, it's okay. It's okay no matter what they say, as long as you're okay with yourself. And that's when it really hit me. I would say during the Black Lives Matter movement, to kind of just show that it's okay to be you in your skin and embrace it. And I'm grateful that I have so far.
Cory, I'm wondering if there has been anyone that you've just kind of looked up to in that regard. Like, did you look up to like a Stuart Scott, rest in peace? Because because you think of what he was able to do, the different catchphrases, like bringing cultural references in his hits and whatnot. Was he or some, who are some of the people that you looked up to that maybe kind of gave you that encouragement or the vision that that further pushed you into being like, okay, it's totally okay for me to like just be myself?
Yeah, Stewart was definitely one of the first. I actually wrote a essay about Stewart in high school. So that's how much of an inspiration he was to me. And just seeing, like you said, all the cultural references. And that's something I carry to this day. You know, I tell people all the time, you don't get it, cool. Maybe that can spark a conversation in that household who may be watching the news that night and be like, what does he mean by no cap? Well, look it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to not say it because you don't understand it. You know, I'm low key thinking I'm teaching people, you know, and letting people into our space so they can learn how we talk. And to me, that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be fitting into their bubble. I'm the one on TV, like low key, like let me use my platform to teach y'all something. And so that's the way I carry myself on television. And so, yeah, Stuart Scott was big for me. Of course, Stephen A. You know, a lot of people give him hate, but like he changed the game. Like you can't discredit him for what he's done so far for sports in general. And another guy that like I low key really do like. A lot of people don't like him that much, but Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's a guy nowadays where like I'm watching his show and I'm just like, man, that's different. And you know me, I love different. And so we see every day, you know, on First Take, you know, on Skip Bayless's show, I don't know what's it called anymore. All these debate shows, right? You don't see it on Pat McAfee. He's doing something completely different and it's working. And they got him to ESPN. And so that's another guy that I'm like, okay, you can do it differently and make it to the top. And I think that's a great example.
Cory, what advice would you maybe not only give to like sports broadcasters or broadcasters in general, but I guess Black people who are trying to navigate corporate spaces like we do, about how to balance being your authentic self while also like doing your job at a high level? What advice would you give to like kind of younger people like us about who are just kind of getting into corporate America to whatever degree about how to do it? Because you're doing it now, right? So like what advice would you give to those people?
Say hi, shake hands, be nice to everyone. Like you never know. You never know who is going to be who's going to turn into what. But even the people that you feel like are high and mighty and like they may have a cool title, well, who are the people around that person as well that you can shake hands with, meet them, get their numbers? Because you never know what doors will open depending on who you know and who you're nice to. I think a lot of people in this industry they see the big names and they want to get in with them. But to me, I want to know who the mom is, who's the best friend, who's the
Mm,
agent. Like those are the people that you kind of want to get close with because that gets you in the door. And I think for me and my success has been big on just being nice to everyone, taking everyone's numbers down. One thing I do for sure when I'm out and about, let's say someone recognizes me, and they say, we love watching you on TV. The first thing I do is, what is your name? I ask them what their name is because
mm,
you know my name, cool, but I don't really care that you know my name. I want to know what your name is because you're a human being. You have the balls to walk up to me and say hi. I know that was also pretty nerve wracking, but also like you're a person. You have a story. So what is your name? How do you know me? How often do you watch? But also like, do you have kids? Are you married? I'm asking all these questions in first interactions because to me that's what being a human being is like. Even though they may see me on the platform, I try to humble myself and put us all on the same level field, same level, so that we can have a genuine conversation, and it's not, I guess, like it doesn't feel fake. It's more so just like I really do care about your life. Like I
yeah.
do. I want to make sure you're okay. I want to see how your walk is with God. If you're religious, like I want to have those conversations. Because this is way more than just TV. Like life is way more than just our jobs. And so if I'm able to use my job to open up another door, to open up a different conversation, to then have these real conversations and discussions with people, that's what people see. And that's how they start opening up opportunities for you, is because you're genuine. And it's crazy. It's crazy being in this business for about 5 years now, how many fake people there are. Like it
Mm.
really is, dude.
Tell me, bro. Tell me.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm just thankful to know that, like, when I walk into the office every day, when I'm walking to a football field, basketball game every day, when I shake somebody's hand, I want to know their life more than they want to know mine. So I think that would be the advice I would give, is to be genuinely interested in other people's lives and not just do it just to make a connection. You want to make relationships. And that's what this business is. It's not about networks. I know growing up, you heard about networks. Build your network, build your network. I say build your relationships. Like relationships are way more deeper than just a network. So that's how I kind of carry myself.
Who taught you to look at it like that?
Honestly, nobody, bro. Like if I'm being real, like that's just who I am. Like he's a genuine guy on TV. Like that's just who I am. I don't know why. I may get it from my mom. My mom was really big and like saying hi to everybody. My friends always loved coming over to the Mose house because mom was always so nice and she's asking about everybody about their days. And Mama Mose was just always so inviting to everybody. And so maybe that's where I got it from. Like watching her do that with my friends and my sister's friends. And so she took everyone at face value, and she didn't really put any type of stigmas on anybody. She didn't judge anyone. She literally was just a nice woman. And so I think I get that from her. And people can see that when I'm out and about, and they say the same things about me. You're just nice. And it's crazy how much nice can take you. Like it
Facts.
is.
That's facts.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Mama Mose, but Cory, I guess I mean, as you said, you've been in the business like 5 years and counting to this point. What would you say has been your most memorable reporting experience to this point, and why?
That's a tough one, bro. There's a couple. There's a couple. Uh, I think my first Red River rivalry
Mm,
was pretty crazy. Cause I grew up watching Texas versus OU, but then like being on the field, right, and then shooting the game at the Cotton Bowl, that was crazy. And just seeing the crowd, and at the 50-yard mark, it split between burnt orange and crimson, and like it really is split. Like it's
mm.
50-yard line to the left is burnt orange, to the right is crimson.
Yeah.
And like it was just a cool atmosphere to be in. Something you grew up watching. And so that was cool. And the other one I would say though, in my first market, my first ever Odessa Permian versus Midland League game, high school football. I get it, but I've watched Friday Night Lights multiple times, the movie, and Booby Miles and all the history and stuff like that, and to be at that game and the whole city, it's the same way still. Whole
Mm.
city shut down. Like no one's working at the gas station. Like lights are off. Sorry, we're at the game. Signs up in the windows. Like it's still like that. And so that was cool to see. Like man, this community takes this rivalry game so serious, and I have the opportunity to report on it. So that means I want to give my best because clearly this city embraces this game a lot. So I need to put in my full effort to make sure I have a great report. So those were the two kind of biggest things. Recently, though, covering Wimby was pretty cool. They had a game in Austin, and
Mm.
being able to talk to him and do a press conference with him and ask him questions, it was kind of surreal because he's that alien freak that everyone talks about, but he is probably one of the most humble dudes I've ever met as an athlete. And so to know that he has so much to come, and to see it in person, and to see the length, and to see the height, and it's just like, bro, you are a freak. Like this is different. Uh, that was pretty cool too.
Cory, what did you learn about yourself working in that first market? Like for me, like I don't know if you remember, but like my first job was in Laredo, Texas, on
Mhm.
the border. So like I felt like I went through a lot down there, even though I was there for just a little bit. But like for you, and yeah, man, and you just talk about being in that Midland Odessa market, and obviously the whole Friday night lights, uh that whole vibe, and then just also you talking earlier about just how that was the space where you were really trying to find yourself, right, and being in an area that where you were a minority. But like I guess generally, now that you can look back on it several years later, what do you think you learned about yourself, being out there?
I think one of the biggest things, like I talked about earlier, was just being confident in who I am. I had a lot of, I guess I could say, people that doubted me when I first got the job. I will say that I didn't have any offers. That was my only offer out of college, so I had to take it. And you know, being out there helped me learn that like it's okay to be you, but then also it's okay to embrace other people's culture. I
Mm.
went to a bunch of rodeos out there. Would never thought, would have never thought your boy would be at the rodeos. But like, hey, look, man, bareback riding, bull riding, that mug cool, bro. But I'm not gonna cap like that. Mug's pretty dope. And so like, not only being okay with who you are, but being okay with other people are different. Like, and that's something that I learned for sure. But then also just the way that you're able to carry yourself can change a lot about how people perceive you. And even with the way you dress, that's another thing I feel like I learned out there, which is
Mm.
unfortunate, right? Like I shouldn't have to. This story I'm about to tell you is kind of crazy, but I went to a high school signing one day, and I really didn't feel like getting dressed up, bro. Like it was early in the morning, probably like 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Mm.
I put up in like sweats, sweats and like a polo, and somebody asked me, they stopped me at the door, and it was just like, "Hey, what class are you in?" First off, I'm like, "Whoa, I know I'm black. Black don't crack." You know what I'm saying? I know I look young, but not in school. But second off, have this big camera in my hand. Clearly, I'm not a student. And so then get into the school, get to the signing day room. It was in like the library. And I just get a lot of mean mugs. Mind you, I'm the only black person in the room. So just a lot of mean mugs, a lot of like, what is this guy doing here? Mind you, I didn't have my badge or anything. So like maybe that's on me. But like a lot of just like, what is this guy doing here? And the energy I felt was just, I don't know how to describe it. It just felt like I was an outsider. Uh, and I'm trying to do my job. Now you compare that to the next day I went to a signing. I didn't like that feeling. So I wore a suit to the signing the next day. And no problem getting to the door. Actually, someone said, "Hello, sir. Like, how you doing?" Like,
That's the complete 180, bro. Yeah.
180, complete 180. And it sucks that like a simple "What are you wearing?" can change how people treat you. But that's something I learned, and that as a black man, like I have to understand that you can't just pull up in baggy clothes and do your job. Like, this is not how it works. People aren't going to take you seriously, and people may label you as something that you probably don't want to be labeled while you're just trying to get a paycheck. But when you dress up, when you look good, when you put that ish on, then things look a little bit differently. Now, should it be that way? No, but that's just that's the world we live in right now. And even here in Austin, same exact way. Like when I wear a suit, doors just open for me, But when I'm just in a little streetwear fit, I gotta show my badge, show my credential everywhere I go, So I think that's one thing I learned in Midland for sure, because I was an outsider, because I was a minority, and like I wasn't in a market that had like majority black people. So they questioned everywhere I step foot, and so I think that's also a testament to why I wear the things I wear on air, and where I wear the things I wear at work. Like, I've just been a part of experiences where it really does matter to me about what I put on. And so I need to be noticeable about that. And when I wake up every day and look in the mirror, I have to have the ish on, You never know where that's going to take you.
No, that's a fact. And as you said, it is kind of unfair, right? Because if it was just a white guy, like in your situation, it wouldn't have happened to them. But it's the reality. And yeah, something my mom told me, like you never know, something she would tell me, like you never know who you're gonna run into. And so I think I always carry that with me as well. But that's
great advice.
Yep. That's so important. So Cory, what exactly got you into wanting to be on TV talking sports? You said how your dad was like an All-American at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Was it just being around sports that it became a natural draw for you when you realized that you weren't going to be something? Or like, how exactly did that come about?
I was a bum.
That you was a bum, bro.
I love telling this story, to be honest, because people ask me this, because it's very unconventional. So when I was growing up, around 6 or 7 years old, I was a smart kid. I always was a smart kid. So I was trying to find ways to outsmart my parents. And so I wanted to stay up late past my bedtime. Bedtime was at 10, right? Well, it was like 10:30. That's what it was, because right after the news. So I could stay and watch the local news. And right after the local news is over, you gotta go to sleep. But after the local news was late night television. And at the time, it was David Letterman. And so I was still am, big David Letterman guy. And so I would kind of tell my parents, like, hey, let me just stay up till the first commercial break, and then I'll go to sleep. Now, mind you, I didn't give a rip about David Letterman at the time. Like, I just want to stay up longer. That was my motive. Like, I didn't want to stay up for no reason, by the way. I'm 6 or 7. I ain't doing nothing. Like, I'm just staying up past my bedtime, feel like a big kid, And so over time, though, as the years went on, at 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, I started to really grasp the idea of, wow, this guy had his own television show. His name's on it. Like, he is the host. This is dope. And so I would attest to my desire to be on TV to David Letterman. Because as I was trying to stay up past my bedtime, I was also watching David Letterman every night. And over time, I started to see, like, man, this is cool. Like, this is really cool. Have guests on the show every night. cracking jokes, and I really enjoyed watching it. And so as I got older, that's where that love to be on TV came from. And then you incorporate liking sports and started to follow football, started to follow basketball. My dad used to ask me all the time when we watch NFL teams, like, where'd that guy go to school? Where'd this guy go to school? And I would just know, like, what college they went to. I don't know how, but
Dude, I was the same way, man.
Yeah, bro. I would really keep up. And so then you mix in my knowledge of sports to my desire to be on TV, and that's how you get to where I'm at now.
Okay. So there is the formation of the dream watching David Letterman. You already had the affinity with sports. So what do you think are the specific steps that you took or that you did take to kind of get in the position you're at now, like in a relatively large market at a young age, right? You're 26.
Just turned 27, May 6th.
Okay. Yeah. Well, happy belated birthday, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, still in your 20s, working in Austin, I mean, that's a big deal. So, what do you think you did to kind of set you apart from other people to kind of get in this position now?
I think it started in high school, right? I had a class, AV production class, and they eventually evolved into TV One, and we had like a homeroom news station, I guess you can say. Every Friday, our class would produce a 15-minute broadcast, and I was like the sports anchor for that. And so I would go to the games and literally do what I'm doing now. I would ask athletes after the games questions. I would shoot highlights, and I would do a report in front of a green screen about what went down that week for our high school sports. But I will say it wasn't just that, though. I got certified in Adobe Premiere Pro in high school. And
certified? You can like official certification?
Yeah, you take a test and you gotta pass it with a certain grade. Yeah, so my not professor, he's a teacher in high school. My teacher, Mr. Henley, I still talk to him to this day. He kind of first introduced me to Premiere, and then built that confidence because he saw that I was really good at it, and I would do different effects and stuff like that. And I'm a bookworm. I told you I love to read. I was a nerd growing up, and so I used to YouTube a bunch of how-to videos. If I wanted to figure out how to do something, I just wanted to do it myself. So eventually, over time, he thought I got to a point where I could take the test my senior year in high school and passed it, flying colors. And I had a little diploma saying certified in Premiere Pro. And so once I got to college, bro, like I'm already 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody. We're learning Premiere Pro in college. Intro to Premiere, it's like, bro, I already know how to do all this stuff. So then my professor is now teaching me things in college that he's not teaching anybody else in the class because he knows I'm too advanced for all this stuff. And so that's kind of how I started the track of being already ahead of the curve. And I just kept figuring out ways to continue to be ahead and not let people catch up. And whether that's watching different sports anchors or getting in contact with other guys outside of the industry and teaching me things. Heck, like I said, you had Chance on. I used to call Chance and ask him like, hey, bro, like, what'd y'all learn at Arizona State? Because he went to #1 sports broadcasting school.
Yeah.
And so like I knew they were learning stuff. Now, mind you, like I said, I didn't learn crap. So I was like, hey, bro, what'd y'all learn? And try to take some nuggets away from him that he may have learned in his classroom. And so I was always just trying to learn. Because I didn't want people to catch up to me. And that kind of got to where I am right now. It's like, I'm still learning. I'm still calling people. I'm still having people watch my resume and watch my reels and watch my videos to see how can I get better? Because I think that's how you make it to the top, is by continuing to know that you're not the best. Whenever you think you are the best, that's when you're screwed, because that's when you feel like you hit your cap. So I don't ever want to get to that point. I feel like I can learn from somebody at all times. And I think that's what's got me to this point now. But it's like I continue to learn instead of being okay with being certified in high school with Premiere Pro. I could have been cool with that. But I'm like, no, I don't want people to catch up to me. So, yeah, I think that's how I kind of got to this point now, being so young in Austin and being authentic at the end of the day. Like, I got this job because my news director found me on Twitter. And she saw a video of mine go viral and offered me the job. Like, that's literally how it went down. So I think that authenticity combined with the hunger to learn has got me to this point.
Why was it so? I guess maybe why did you embody that mentality? Like, why was being number one, or why is being number one still so important to you? Like, where does that desire come from?
I think that's genetics. Like, Ben, I have no, like, I can't cap. I am so competitive. Like, I am extremely competitive. Like the other day, uh, Tyler Guyton, the first round draft pick for the Cowboys this year, he's from Austin.
Mm.
And he came back to his high school here 2 days ago. Had no clue. I had no clue. I guess missed the press release for it, but the other stations, two other stations went, and I'm watching the TV at our news station, and people are just like, "Cory, what's wrong?" And I'm pissed. I'm pissed. I'm like, how did they get that? Like, how do we not have that? Like, how do we not get any type of information about that? Why were we not there? So a small thing like that really does get under my skin. Now, mind you, the same day I went to a whole event with Derek Johnson, former Kansas City Chief linebacker, franchise leading tackler, I believe, for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a former Longhorn, so he donated a whole library to the school. Real cool story. But I didn't care. Like another station had something that we didn't have, and that bothered me. And so that's the type of competitive nature I really have. I don't know where it comes from. It's been like this since I was a kid. I love to compete, and I always want to be the best. And I think that's kind of how it's a blessing and a curse, at times, because like, well, I want to be the best, so I'm gonna continue to get better. But also, like, bro, chill out sometimes. Like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. But it's a tough thing to balance. Trying to maintain my competitiveness, but also know that like there's more to life than winning and losing. So yeah, it's been something I've had my whole life. I wouldn't say there's a certain moment that it clicked or someone maybe instilled it into me. It's just something I've always had.
Cory, I'm wondering what's the, because I want to ask this because this is something like I deal with as well, and I've always been super competitive in my life, but I think recently as I've gotten older, like I've started to just like try to battle with myself each day, because with other people, with trying to one up someone like that, it's always a moving target, right? But you can always, at least the way I've started to look at it, like you can like one up yourself, like that's winning. So I'm curious, like how have you maybe tried to balance, like, because I feel like there are times where you may have gotten the exclusive or the scoop and beaten another station, but that may not be the same as you having been your best, right? Or in that situation where you were pissed that the other two stations were at Tyler Guyton's whatever, like at the same time, like you didn't know about that too. Like, so I guess what I'm trying to say, like, how do you balance like always trying to beat other people with like just focusing on maybe trying to beat yourself, and if that's like something you're working through like I am?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, dude. Because that's something that I'm blessed enough to be at this station and with my peers. Jeff Jones, he's my sports director here. Tyler Feldman's the weekend guy here, and weekend sports guy. And so they've kind of taught me like the lesson of taking care of yourself, and knowing that like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I have to tell myself at times. It's like, look, bro, you just made this great piece on Derek Johnson. Like, be okay with that. Yeah, you may have missed out on Tyler Guyton, but the same day you made this great piece on Derek Johnson. So love your wins, and embrace your wins, and celebrate your wins. Because at times where I feel like over the years, I was so wrapped up in the battle of trying to be the best and mad at not getting this, not getting that, and not celebrating my victories. And like you said, the exclusives, and doing stuff like that and being happy with that. And so that's where I've been having to kind of like look inward and also look to God and have him kind of reveal to me, he's blessed me with these things, and it'll be disrespectful to him to not embrace and love and congratulate myself, put a pat on the back for the doors that God opened for me and me executing, you know? And so that's kind of how I've been dealing with that mentally, is that knowing that it's okay to celebrate your wins. And when you do lose or when you maybe not get something, that's fine. You'll get them the next time, you know? And everyone's perception isn't going to change about you after one missed story, right? Like, oh, Corey wasn't that Tyler Guidance thing, so he sucks. Like, no, that's not how it works, you know? But in my mind, that's how it works, you know? So I
Yeah.
get that mentality out of my mind and know that everything I've built to this point will help my foundation about how the public perception is, and understand that like you have credibility now. You're not the guy in Midland, Odessa with 6 months of experience. Like, bro, you established yourself in a market and you've had battles and you've won a lot of wars and you've had a bunch of exclusive interviews and you've had a bunch of great stories that people recognize and know you for. So one missed story or one bad report isn't going to kill you because you've already built that foundation. And I think that's where I'm kind of growing and learning in right now and trusting that what I've done to this point has been enough. So that if I do make a mistake, it's okay. I'm not going to get beaten and battered for it. People still love me, you know, and I still gotta love myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I've kind of like definitely a mental battle, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely. So,
No, I feel that. Yeah, it's about the whole gratitude thing with what you've done, where you're at, but also balancing that with the hunger, right? That the aspirations as well. So it's a balance I think that we all kind of battle with. Cory, beyond your work with KVUE, I know you have your own platform, your own show, Cory Knows, and I guess you do that with a friend of yours.
yeah.
So I guess what was the inspiration behind that, and what I guess what's kind of the purpose to having kind of your own thing beyond what you do?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So Mose Knows podcast with my boy Dion Parker. We went to school together. So he actually came to me about it. So he messaged me one day and was just like, look, bro, you have a platform in Austin. You know, he saw the way I was growing in the last 2 years and saw that like I really did have a following out here. So he wanted to kind of say, like, look, utilize it. You know, make a name for yourself in your own name, you know, and not under KVU. And so I like the idea. I told him no, you know, same thing. Look, I want to be the best. So if we're gonna do this, like we gotta have the right cameras, we gotta have the right lighting, we gotta have the right audio, like everything has to be up to par. And so like he's not in the business. So trying to get him up to speed was something, I guess I should say. And we had like 6 test runs, like hour-long podcast.
Wow.
Like that's how, yeah, bro, I'm a sicko. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a sicko, bro. So like legit had about 6 test runs. And I'm talking about full on hour-long podcast. I'm sending it out to my friends to see what they think about it before we had anything go on YouTube, anything go on Spotify, because I want it to be solid. Like if my name is on it, I want it to be solid. And so yeah, it's still a work in progress for sure. But man, it's been a fun time, really fun time, because then there's a lot of things we can't do on TV. Like we get a minute and a half or 2 minutes, you know, so I can't talk about everything I want to talk about. And also it allows me a space to maybe bring in interviews that I don't have the chance to do because I don't have the time to get to the game or to the practice during my work week. So like recently I just had the head coach of Austin FC hop on the podcast. And that was something that was like, yeah, I have no time to do a sit down one-on-one with you on TV. Like setting up the cameras and editing all that will take forever. But I do have this platform that you can just hop on your laptop and we could chop it up for 30 minutes, you know? So that's another way that I've been able to utilize it to build my relationships outside of TV and to be in a more relaxed environment. Because I think on a podcast type vibe, like the coaches are a lot more relaxed, athletes are a lot more relaxed, and so you get better. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I did it. But also I wanted to challenge myself. Like that's a atmosphere that I feel like every sports person that you see at the top that they have to do. Like Stephen A has his own podcast. I really like Mina Kimes. Mina Kimes has a great podcast as well. Hell, Pat McAfee started with the podcast technically. And so you have all these people at the top are doing podcasts outside of their everyday work. So I'm like, shit, I need to start doing that. So I might as well get used to it now. If I want to make it to that point.
That's
Yeah,
smart. Yeah.
that was another way for me to just continue to grow, continue to get better, and challenge myself. Now, I will say this: I do it on my off days, so that kind of sucks. I don't really have an off day, but grind don't stop. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why when Dion brought the idea to me, I was like, why not? You know, and it's been good so far. And I also do a radio show every Friday as well here in a local Austin station. It's a black-owned radio station. Don't get
Okay.
paid for it. It's volunteer based, and that's another way for me to do something different. The radio mic is different than a TV mic and a podcast mic. Like there are so many different ways to kind of spread your wings, and I just want to dabble into all of them. And so the radio show has been cool too because we don't talk anything Austin related. It's
Mm,
all national stuff. We talk Cowboys,
mm.
we talk Texans, we talk NBA playoffs right now. And it's just like I have an outlet that now I can express my thoughts and opinions about national stuff, and I don't have to stick to just Austin things because I do have opinions about the Mavs, and I do think the Nuggets are going to win the chip this year. Like stuff
Yeah.
like that is, I want to tell people, so the radio station helps me do that. So I'm all over the place, bro. But I
Yeah.
think that's what it takes, to reach where you want to go.
No, I love that. And that really, that defines who you are too, like just being different, like going back to what we talked about at the beginning, how you're kind of dabbling in it, all these different avenues, so to speak. And yeah, man, doing 6 1 hour trials. I mean, like that's true sicko behavior, bro. Like that's yeah, like where is that whole perfectionist mindset? Does that kind of tie itself in with the competitiveness
Yeah,
from back when you were a kid too? Like has that always been part of the competitiveness as well?
for sure, for sure. Because like I said, I was a bookworm, so
Mm.
that competitiveness came through with like my grades as well, and the perfectionist type things. I had to get an A, right? Always had to get an A. I was an all A student, and anytime I got a B, like I,
Hey man, your response said it all.
I thought the teacher hated me. I'm like, what? How did I get a B? But I was
Yeah.
always, like you said, I wanted to be a perfectionist. And so it's kind of helped me in my job because now when
Mhm.
I edit, when I have slight things here and there, like a play happening right on the beat drop, right? I'm the guy that am zooming into the timeline on the project during Premiere and making sure right when that note hits, the video hits at the same time. Like I'm that guy. And so it's it makes editing a lot tougher for sure.
Yeah.
It makes editing longer, but it makes the videos great. And I think people see the content, people see the work that I put in, and they know that it's not just something that I just woke up, put together, and put on social media. Like no,
Mm.
I actually dove into it. I took my time with it, and I wanted to present something to the audience that they can really indulge in and enjoy the product that I just put on your timeline.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to take pride in what I put on social media, and I don't ever want to put something out there that I think I may be embarrassed about or know that I didn't put my full effort in, which is
Mm.
ridiculous. So yeah, definitely a perfectionist at heart, and combine that with the competitive nature, you get the sicko Cory Mose that you have
Yeah.
today. So
I feel that. I feel that. Well, winding down here, Cory, I guess where can people go to not only see your work in Austin, but also I guess just to tap in with you to see what's going on with Cory Knows and everything. How could people kind of tap in with you on social media?
yeah, facts, bro. So Twitter, that's where you're going to get most of my content is mostly Twitter. I will say this with I guess X, as I call it X.
Hey man, no one calls it
I'm
that,
like,
so
yeah,
you're good.
do I got to show respect or not? On that platform, that's where most of my work is at, and I mean that's how I got my last two jobs. So I owe a lot
Mm,
to X. And so yeah, Cory_Mose. Luckily enough, I don't have a lot of people aren't named Mose, so I don't have to do a lot of the characters after that. So Mose, Cory_Mose is where you can find me on social media. On IG, same thing, Cory_Mose TV. Twitter,
mm.
I mean not Twitter, TikTok. I've been trying to do more TikToks lately. That's
Okay.
another trying to step out my comfort zone.
Yep.
you know, and trying to dabble into that as well, trying to challenge myself. So TikTok as well. I'm trying to grow that brand. And then for Mose Knows podcast, that's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on everything. So you can find that to this day. That releases once a week. So you can hop on that as well. So yeah, social media and my podcast, man, you can check the kid out.
Okay. Love it. And last one for you, Cory. I ask this to my guests at the end of every episode. It's kind of broad, so bear with me. But what do you believe is one thing that people could do to get a step closer to like reaching their pinnacle, to maximizing their personal potential?
It's a great question. What is one thing people can do to maximize their full potential? One thing, I'm a religious guy. Talk to God. That'll be the first thing. Being able to have a relationship with Him, ask Him what you can be better at as a human being, and kind of grow in your faith, but also grow in how you carry yourself and how you treat people. And has your heart, did you have a heart of love? Do you have a heart of hatred and jealousy? I think that's where you need to start. Look inward, of course, because if you have that heart of love, then that goes into my next point of kind of wrap this all together. But being nice to everyone, and making sure that everyone gets you to the fullest degree, if that makes sense. Like, don't ever sell anyone short of who you are. You know, and I think that's something that like I've been able to be blessed with, that like I don't have the natural wall up. My wall is never up with people. I always have a full scope of Cory Mose. Whatever you meet me in person, whether it's the first time or the 500th time, you're gonna get the same Cory. Now, mind you, when it comes to like the dating life, that's not always great. You know, I'm putting my whole life out there. First date. It's the first date. So like, chill out. But anyways, but I would say that is a big key though. You know, because when you're trying to reach the top, when you're trying to reach your full potential, you don't know who's going to help you get there. So if you block people off from who you are, that can maybe tell you, hey, you're a little bit too much like this, or hey, like I really enjoyed this about you. Continue to do that. That's when you're going to start to see, okay, who you are as a person, because you can't see your faults and your flaws, because you have a blind eye to that. But if you let people into your life, they can tell you your faults and your flaws, and they can also tell you the things that you're great at. And so I would say that when it comes to one, ask God who you are and who you continue to strive to be and who He wants you to be. But then once you're comfortable in that space, allow other people to chime in. And it's okay to have feedback. Now, you can take it or leave it. I'm not saying you accept everything that people tell you, because I didn't do that in my career. But the fact that like I heard it, and I heard that's what people were thinking about me. Now I'm conscious about how I carry myself every day. And I think that's the way to kind of reach your full potential, is let other people in to your life and not always have that wall up, because you never know who's going to help you out.
Damn, that's beautiful, bro. That was great.
I hope so. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that was great. No, for real. No, that was good stuff, man. That was good stuff. Appreciate you coming on, and for all you listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you found me. Really appreciate you guys for taking time out of your busy days and to kind of tune in. And yeah, this has been another episode. I'll be back again next week. As always, you guys know the deal. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time, dropping new episodes. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Cory, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on, Brody.